entertainment, and he just has so much money. And so, in a lot of these fights going forward, he's gonna put a running clause in there. After seeing blow your hand off, that would be shitty no matter which way you slice it. Hopefully, I saw his family kind of crazy. Allegedly, he had some cartel ties, where like people would be hanging upside down. And guys, episode 19 of the Daily Dose podcast. Thank you so much for all the support. Keep tuning. Happy Monday. Welcome to episode 19 of the Daily Dose podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. This podcast is sponsored by Jackpack LLC, all organically grown cannabis right here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, as well as 1GM Construction for all your roofing and construction needs. Let them know you heard it on the Daily Dose podcast for 10% off all services. Going to be a great episode today, guys. Lots of current topics. No fights from the past weekend. We got some fights to go over this weekend. Let's get right into it. First thing, it's Derek Lewis versus Teixeira in the main event. Let's see what we got here. I had the card up. My fault. Oh, yes. So I don't really know this Teixeira guy. Who has he fought? Taliesin Teixeira. He beat Justin Tafa, and that's really it. He only has one win in the UFC so far. That's an interesting one for Derek Lewis. We kind of know what we get from Derek Lewis. So if this guy can weather the storm or has any type of grappling, other than that, he's going to find himself knocked out. So it's actually a decent card. It's in Nashville, Tennessee. You got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Gabriel Bonfim. Calvin Kattar versus Steve Garcia. Nate Landwehr versus Morgan Chair, something like that. You got Austin Lane on there, Justin Tafa, Max Griffin, Chris Curtis. That should be a good one. So this is actually a pretty decent fight card as far as free fight night. So I'm going to go Nate Landwehr. I'm going to go Steve Garcia over Calvin Kattar. Now, that should be a tough fight. I've been in the room with Steve Garcia. I didn't know him on a personal level, but he's one of the hardest workers in the room. Been around him, so love to see him get a big win. I think Wonderboy might be too old. I think Father Time might get him. I'm taking the younger Bonfim brother, Gabriel Bonfim. And in the main event, we're taking Derek Lewis by KO, baby. Let's see it. So, should be a good one. And then, of course, the following weekend is going to be a great card. We'll probably do a special breaking down all of Dustin Poirier's fights before he makes that final walk. Man, that one hurts. But, yeah, no other fights, like I said, from this past weekend. Those are coming up this weekend. Make sure you guys check it out. One thing that was pretty funny is during UFC 317, Daniel Cormier's brand new car got stolen. He was pretty hurt about it. That's crazy how people, they know where you're at. They try and do their research. I don't know how they knew his new car would be at the airport or if it was just random, whatever it may be, but that definitely sucks. Power slap, guys. Now, get your money by any means. I just been seeing a lot of people. It's entertaining. I don't necessarily watch it regularly. I mean, when I see little clips, they're entertaining. But guys, if you're getting the shit slapped out of you and you're making $1,000 and you had a 5-week training camp, you could go work at Walmart, Starbucks, plenty of other things you could do besides getting your brain rattled. Now, fighting is one thing. Just standing there and bracing yourself to get smacked, never would I ever. So get your money, do your thing, but guys, relax. That thing is not like cool or it's not viewed like fighting. You're standing there and letting someone slap the shit out of you. Come on, think about it. Something that was wild / just kind of messed up in my opinion is Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was deported. And it's like, yo, he just fought Jake Paul. You guys didn't check his paper or you knew supposedly his visa expired. So you guys knew it was about to expire and you just rolled on him. Stuff like that's kind of crazy. Allegedly, he had some cartel ties, where like people would be hanging upside down and he'd have to use them as a heavy bag. Now, again, is that something he wants to do? Probably not. Is this something he was forced to do? Probably. But my thing with this whole immigration thing is if people are here to better themselves, to work hard, to do their thing, they're not bothering anybody. They should have to verify, pass, do something, and then they're all good. We're over here just arresting, a woman that has 4 kids, a dude working here. They're going to places where they know people are working hard and appreciative for the opportunities, and we're just going and arresting them. And I don't know. So I don't know necessarily the way to handle everything. but in my opinion, we're definitely not handling it correctly. Now, a lot of thing that one thing that people have to keep in mind is if you go to these other countries, Venezuela, whatever, go to some of these other countries and try and sneak in, they're probably not going to treat you even how we do. So, like I said, I don't agree with a lot of it. Something has to be done, but I don't know what the solution would be. Just thought that was kind of messed up how he was just here and then you guys arrest him. So, something interesting. Turkish Al Sheikh. Now, a lot of people don't realize that he's probably not even making money. He's throwing a lot of these fights out of pure entertainment and he just has so much money. And so, in a lot of these fights going forward, he's going to put a running clause in there, after seeing William Skull, the Devin Haney fight, the Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero. He does not want people to just sit there and be boring. If he's going to pay you all these millions like you want, he wants to see an entertaining fight. So, shout outs to him. Supposedly, the Shakur versus Cepeda is going to have a smaller ring as the fight goes on because Shakur says, he'll finish him and stuff like that. So Sheik's like, bet, let's see it, which is just nuts. If that's actually true, that is very interesting. But shout outs to him because I think you don't necessarily need to shrink it as it goes on. But yeah, there's a difference between running and sticking and moving. And so if there's a fine line between that, yeah, I'm all for it. Like running clause is awesome. That William Skull fight, if I could fight Canelo like that for 5 million, sign me up. I don't even really have to engage. I just run in circles. Like, please sign me up. That was one of the worst performances I've ever seen. So, shout outs to Sheik. We'll see how that works out. Now, Donald Trump announced it, and Dana White confirms that there will be by next year a UFC card at the White House. Man, that would be absolutely nuts. Guys, before you even think you're going to be invited, this will definitely be no tickets for sale. This is going to be a private event if it actually happens. John Jones says he's coming out of retirement. Conor McGregor, stop, please. He said he'll fight Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler's going to train for another 3 years and miss any opportunity. And then it's never going to happen. That's just hilarious. But yeah, I definitely feel like if they did do a card there, John Jones, Conor McGregor, you know, Ilya Taporia, you got to put on some crazy fights because that could be a once in a lifetime, if not once in a very blue moon, where you actually get fights over there. So that is very interesting. I think that's pretty cool if it actually comes together, and we'll see what happens. I saw something recently again on BJ Penn, and I know I've talked about him a good amount. At this point, it's pretty sad, honestly. He's absolutely losing his mind. He thinks all these people are someone else and that people are setting him up, and I mean it's just crazy. I'm trying to yeah, here it is. So it's these mass C words, he's saying some of these pictures of his family are photoshopped. He's comparing current to older ones. He's trying to like go above and beyond to prove that this new guy is a replacement brother, replacement mom. He's attacking people. It is just, man, if you know BJ Penn and you personally can impact him anyway, please reach out and see what you can do. It's really getting just sad at this point. You know what I mean? Just very, very sad. So, popular podcaster Jonathan Dupatin. I never really paid too much attention. I've seen little clips here and there behind the Rich and Unemployed podcast, indicted by the feds for running a $10 million unemployment scam. Well, there you are, my boy. You were rich and unemployed, bragging about it, and now you're going to prison. So, way to set an example of how to be an idiot, guys. That's one thing you don't do. If you're doing crimes, probably don't come out with a podcast that even insinuates or even jokes about anything related to the crimes you're doing. Unless you're an idiot, do your thing. So that's an interesting one. Another person I've spoke about a few times, streamer Vitali. It seems like he's going to be sentenced to 24 years in the Philippines in a terrible prison. They want to make an example out of him. They did not appreciate what he did. I've seen some videos of him. And does he deserve 24 years? No. Is he an absolute idiot? Yes. You can't go to another country, take people's hats, take their cards, mess with their culture. So they're not going to have it. So they want to make an example out of him. I'm pretty certain I read multiple things saying he's going to be doing 24 years. So prayers for him. I don't know. He already looks like he's having a hard time. He looks like he lost a lot of weight. I'm sure he's getting in a lot of fights. Hopefully he learns from this and gets out before the 24 years, definitely. Now, NBA player Malik Beasley is and being accused slash under investigation for rigging some games for betting purposes. If you haven't seen these, go look up some of them. There was a clip I saw where they were losing by 9, I think. The spread was like 8.5. The other team scored, so now they're going to lose by 7. There's like 2 seconds left. Buddy gets the ball inbound into him and sprints as hard as he can to run down the court and make it so he could cover. I've seen a couple other ones that were like, oh my God, where he just missed a something to let it fall, whatever it may be. I mean, there's just some absolute crazy ones. So pretty funny. You'll have to go check it out. But then it comes out that he's also like 8 million in debt. He owes like an agency. He owns a loan place. He owns the barber. He owns all sorts of stuff. So it's really crazy and kind of sad to see when people get in this position. He's made $60 million in his career, and he's now negative 8 million. I mean, it's just insane. I don't know how you could blow 60 million and not invest 5, 10 of it to give you a return every year. It's pretty crazy, but it happens more than we know. Now, Whack 100, everybody knows this figure. He's a manager of Blueface, and he's been managers of the game, other people before. I saw a video. It's hard to tell these days with AI and everything, but it looked like when he was talking to someone, like his wallet kind of turned and it looked like it had a badge on it. And I was thinking, like, that makes so much sense. He has so much like inside information or weird perspectives or kind of information that you're like, how does he? I'm like, that would make so much sense if this guy was an undercover Fed. Who really knows? Like I said, I'm not saying 100%, but I was like, yo, it kind of makes sense. Very interesting. Look up the clip and you decide for yourself. Now, I know we talked about the immigration thing earlier. One example, in my opinion, of how we're handling it wrong is this whole alligator immigration prison with deep waters, big old alligators. I saw videos of them handpicking like the biggest alligators they could find. That's nuts. That's not what it's all about. America, again, is a land of the free, an opportunity, a beautiful place where tons of people still come to every day. And I think if they don't do it the right way, and or they're coming here with negative intentions, then yes, they should just be sent back to their country of origin. If they're here to do good, they're here to work hard, they're here to take care of your family, we should bring them in with open arms. And that's that. Secure the border, either bring them in or send them on their way. But holding people in a crazy prison and all this stuff is just like, we don't need to stoop to other countries' levels. You don't need to treat people inhumanely. They must have something really poor going on in their lives that made them flee to our country. And if they go about it the right way, cool. If they don't, simply send them back. It doesn't matter how many times they have to keep getting sent back, but there's ways to handle things and there's ways not. I just, that's kind of my opinion on it. The Diddy trial, man, has been stirring the waves on his big counts of stuff. He was, proven innocent on the kind of major charges, if you will. I've always said, does he do some weird stuff? Absolutely. Was the Cassie thing terrible? Has he done some illegal stuff? I'm sure. But the main stuff that they were kind of presenting and talking about was just weird. If you're a grown adult and you accept money or you go let a man do something to you to put you in a certain position, whatever it may be, all that is super weird. None of it's illegal. So I'm not necessarily shocked. I wasn't really sure how it was going to play out. I mean, based off all this crazy evidence and things they found, they really haven't released any of that. So I don't know. It seems like it's just a whole weird thing. I'm not really going to give my full take on it because I don't really know one way or another. I haven't seen all the evidence. I don't know the ins and outs. I see what everybody else sees, but there's definitely some stuff that doesn't make sense. So we'll see what happens. He might get like 10 years with time served. He'll do a couple more years. Pretty nuts though, all the things that came out, and it'll be interesting to see kind of how he's viewed when he does get out. Now, over the weekend, man, horrible. Rapper 4Extra blows his hand off. Now, I'm sure he's a personality, right? He starts beef. He's in a lot of stuff. He says a lot of controversial stuff. He's still a human being. That absolutely sucks to get your hand blown off. We don't get to decide what's karma, what's deserved, what's stuff like that. But yeah, that's absolutely nuts. I've seen, again, you don't know what's true, what's not. I've seen some stuff that says he literally blew his hand off. So put yourself in that position. You're celebrating 4th of July. You blow your hand off. That would be shitty no matter which way you slice it. Hopefully, I saw his family posted a GoFundMe. So I guess, he may not have the proper funds or or health insurance. But nevertheless, like I said, I don't necessarily agree. I'm not necessarily a fan or a hater of him. I've just seen clips on him here and there. I know he likes to try and start fights and stuff like that, but no matter what, it's not up to us to decide what people go through. And that's crazy to blow your hand off. So hopefully he at least figures that out. So that was really it today, guys. Like I said, no fights from this past weekend. This weekend looks like the fight night's actually pretty good. Going down in Nashville, Tennessee. Got some bangers on there. Tons of current topics. Guys, episode 19 of the Daily Dose podcast. Thank you so much for all the support. Keep tuning in. Tons of interviews coming up. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let's end it on our message of the week. It's like on the airplane, guys. They tell you to secure your mask before you help the kid, before you help others. It's the same thing in life. You can't be in a position to win or help others if you're not winning. So if you really want to make an impact on others' lives, you really want to be able to help and do better for your people, your family, put yourself in a position where you're undeniably a winner, you're successful, you got the financial means, and then anything is possible. Keep that in mind, guys. Appreciate it so much. We'll see you next week.